The NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has added Pick'em Scorchers where you can win 100 times. Yes, 100 times the money you put in. 5 turns into 500, 10 turns into 1,000. Plus, every Sunday they're giving away $100,000. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for 100% deposit bonus up to $500. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for player props, parlays, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, villain real, Terrell from Jr. here at your service.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar.
Dollar, dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, yo.
Breaking news is that I am over the New York Giants. Completely over them. They gave me a sickness over the past week of just being really bad, not tackling, not blocking, no physicality at all whatsoever. Really, are we even playing the sport of football, or are we playing powder puff? Like that's what I'm asking. Unnecessary penalties on special teams. Just fire everybody at this point. Outside of fire everybody. No, I actually have beef with every single person in the organization.
Even Wink? You're a Wink guy.
Yes, Wink can. Scott, you're running my monologue here, but yes, Wink can get fired too. Everybody can get fired. Everybody. Andrew Thomas, he has one leg, and unfortunately, I can't give him my hamstring. Not sure how much it would do him, but it's probably any hamstring is better than a hamstring he's got. So don't like Andrew Thomas. Leonard Williams, maybe we might still rock with Leonard Williams, but he's angry by association. Adoree Jackson can go because it just, no matter what happens, no matter what season it is, if somebody muffs a punt, they just feel the need to throw him out there in special teams for him to get hurt again like he did last year. So Adoree can go for that reason. Everybody can go. I mean, whoever you think that is valuable to the organization, they can leave. And I'm perfectly fine with that. We can start completely over from scratch. As you heard him before, we got my co-host here. We're talking down the evening games. Some would say afternoon. We on the East Coast do not like to be bullied by those of the West Coast. So we call them the evening games on this show. Scott Studio Right Show. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Beam me up away from the New York fucking Giants.
It's also the Jets. It's pretty much every New York team right now, not including Buffalo. But it's not been a good time for the Jets and the Giants recently. Can't complain. Overall, should be a fun.
Is it not including Buffalo, really? Like, are Buffalo Bills fans happy with where their season is at thus far? I mean, they did just blow out 3 teams.
Weeks played out.
I don't know. I feel like you're still kind of upset from that Jets loss. Like, I feel like that's still kind of reeling in the back of your mind. And plus, I have the Jaguars winning this week, so
we'll see
there
what
could
happens,
be.
But Buffalo, their fans are fine. They scored 48 points against Miami last week. No, they're fine.
What is that? I guess we did have Miami creeping up the power rankings, so I guess, but I don't know. I don't know if they happy, or if they happy, it's a temporary happiness. It's never at long happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you lost 4. I'm sorry, if I lost championship 4 years in a row and got there 4 years in a row and lost every single year, I would not be happy with anything that's going on with the organization right now until we get back to that mountaintop and actually win.
I didn't say they were going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I'm just saying, as of right now, I'm assuming morale's fine because they buried their biggest threat in the division.
I think the New Jersey teams just make it seem like they look a lot better, but they still haven't. Like, there's been a lot of expectations, and they still haven't reached the mountaintop yet.
Oh, correct. In the grand scheme of things, you're right. But as of right now, looking at going into week 5, I think Bills fans are fine.
Mm,
They're not going to be
I
mad
guess.
after
I
scoring
guess.
48
I
points.
guess. I guess. Well, we'll see. Well, I'll table that conversation
It
one more
might be
week.
short term, but still.
I'll table that conversation one more week. I'm concerned. I'm slightly concerned about the Buffalo Bills. Very slightly. But that's because I think Josh Allen is overrated. Alrighty, here, Scott. We have how many games we got on the slate today?
5 this time.
5. Thank you. We had 4 last time, and that felt like it wasn't enough. And now we're getting somewhere. Let's see here. We can start with the first game up on the docket, and this is going to be quick. I promise you it's going to be quick because you're either on one side or you're on the other. But the Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Arizona to play the Arizona Cardinals. Bengals are laying 3 on the road. 44.5 is the total here. I mean, so last week I had Tennessee as one of my favorite plays of the day. We didn't have a show, but they were one of my favorite plays of the day. And it was ultimately because Joe Burrow has one leg. He has no ability to put any pressure on one leg, and ultimately he can't throw the ball 10 yards downfield. There is a lot of similarities to how Joe Burrow is playing right now with some of the talent towards the bottom of the league in terms of the quarterback position and being unable to throw the ball downfield. Jamar Chase has asked, give me the ball multiple times. T. Higgins has not made any requests. However, he understands that he's not doing anything if Joe Burrow can't throw the ball 10 yards downfield. And this offense looks stagnant. And now they play an Arizona Cardinal team who is scrappy, but bad. They're scrappy, but they're still bad. Scott, are you laying 3 with the Bengals?
No, I'm going to lean to the Cardinals here, probably in the money line. Cincinnati, I compared the offense to Big Ben's final season with Pittsburgh. Not a compliment by any means. They can't throw the ball. They have to throw the ball 40 times a game because they can't run the ball either, as Mixon hasn't done anything this year. The offense is broken. Burrow's clearly hurt. Dobbs, not bad. And Arizona, I know that they lost to San Francisco. Couple drop passes away at the end from covering that line. Arizona, as you said before, is a feisty team. They've shown me something. If Burrow's not going to be able to actually air it out with this team, what do you like about this team? Like, the defense is okay, I guess, but that's basically it. They're not really good at a lot of things, and I do think that Arizona's pretty live here at home. We saw them finally win a home game. They beat the Cowboys, but I do think Arizona's worth a look here. I'm not laying 3 on principle with Cincinnati based on what I've seen lately. Arizona money line for me.
I think, Scott, I think you're overcompensating because you were on the Bengals last week.
Okay.
And I would very much be pissed off at the Bengals too if I was on the Bengals last week. But I wasn't. I was on the Titans, so I can look at this objectively.
It sounds like
And
you're segueing towards Cincinnati.
I am, because objectively speaking, looking at these two teams, Arizona can have all the grit and all they want. Like, they can be feisty. They can have all of that they want. But at the end of the day, there's just better athletes on the Cincinnati Bengals, and this line is too close at this point. Now, if you were sitting here and this line opened up at 7.5 preseason look ahead. Yes. Okay, great. Give me all of the 7.5. Absolutely. I think we're getting to a point in time where this line probably middles from where it opened and where it ended. And maybe maybe Cincinnati wins this game by 5, 4, 6, like something like that. If you told me this game went to overtime and Cincinnati scored on the first drive, okay, that sounds right. I just think that this is a little bit similar to the Rams game where you have two teams that are not really that good. This Rams team, I think, maybe a little bit better than the Cardinals, but who's to know that? And I think that it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a really close game. I don't think that the Bengals need to throw the ball 10 yards downfield to win this game. Like, I think this can be a bunch of dump offs to your athletes in a Jamar Chase, in a T. Higgins, in a Joe Mixon, and they can just kind of take over and be able to make things happen with Joe Burrow doing very, very limited work here. And so I just think that there's just better athletes on this Cincinnati side of the ball, and they're going to be able to at the very least get the win. I think they do get the cover. This is a little bit too small of a line. I don't really like backing Arizona at home ever. They're not really that good of a home team, probably because they play in uh Arizona, that weird freaking dome. Shout out to Kobe. Yeah, I'm back in Cincinnati here. I think this is a pretty good get right spot for Cincinnati. This is a spot where Burrow doesn't have to do much. I don't think that the Arizona, that was my whole handicap last time for last week against the Titans, was the fact that that front seven is really freaking nasty, and I don't think Arizona has the same front seven that can rattle Joe Burrow this week.
I think the main reason why I'm going to lean to Arizona, we do agree on one thing. We think it's going to be a close game. And since I am looking at it being a one-possession game late, I do feel more tempted to take the points. I am going to lean to the under in this game because Cincinnati, if they are going to score, they take a bunch of time off the clock because every pass goes about 5 yards. I'm leaning to the under in this game. So if I am going to see the actual total being relatively low, and I do think it's going to be a one-possession game, I think I am leaning to the Cardinals because I think there's just not going to be many points.
Yeah, and I think it's a one possession game, but I think that one possession is more than 3 points.
That's fair. I just, once again, I'm
I think
assuming you
this
agree
is
with the under.
this is a touchdown game. It's a touchdown game, but I think the touchdown game is clearly on the side of the Bengals here.
I'm assuming you agree with the under.
Yeah, I like the under. I mean, Joe Burrow can't throw the ball 10 yards downfield. If the Bengals offense gets going, it's literally going to be yards after the catch and running the football, and all the athletes around Joe Burrow making plays without Joe Burrow actually having to do anything at all.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into the rest of the slate, got to talk to you about the Game Time app, because if you're looking for tickets to go to see this Arizona Cardinals game, and I'm telling you, probably some tickets out there that you can do, you can go out there and go check the Game Time app. Matter of fact, I'm going to check the Game Time app for you and look around for some tickets, because Arizona, pretty easy place to. Oh, I was in Dallas. Apparently, I was in Dallas. So now I can just type in here and go to Phoenix. You have Arizona Diamondbacks tickets starting at $42. Arizona State football tickets. Arizona Cardinals tickets starting at $15. What? Oh, that's in the 400 section. It ain't nothing but fights and liquor up there. That's it. So make sure you tap into the Game Time app. I'm telling you, lowest price tickets guaranteed. And if you find a ticket that is on the same row and same section, like I see a $16 ticket in section 454, row 12. If you find a $10 ticket in section 454, row 12, then Game Time will credit you the difference up to 110%. 110% of the difference. That is for you. Go to the Game Time app, use code SGPN to create an account and get $20 off your first purchase. Again, go to the Game Time app, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Look here, this is the sports betting analytics platform for player props, parlays, game lines. Research everything from the NFL, NBA, MLB to soccer. They have the really cool revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. I use it every week just to make sure that my parlays are optimal and I have a great chance of hitting an A. I be winning parlays. So stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit holbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right. Starting the day with disagreement here. Next game on the slate, we have the Philadelphia Eagles on the road, kinda, to play the Los Angeles Rams. Eagles are opened at -6.5, down to -4.5 here. Totals come up though, open up at 47.5. It is now currently sitting at a smooth even 50. Matthew Stafford dealing with the hip injury. It seems like he's fine. He's going to play. And I mean, that would be the most Matthew Stafford thing ever, for him to get injured the week before and still come out the next week and play. Just giving shades of Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford here. I can say this about the Eagles. That front seven is nasty. That front seven is gnarly. Scott, laying 4.5 cross country. Are you taking it?
Well, you mentioned it's technically a home game for the Rams. Philly travels well, but the
Everybody
Rams
travels
don't.
well when they play LA
I was just
and when
saying
they
in
play Las
general. So
Vegas.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to be
everybody.
mostly green in that venue. You mentioned the front seven for Philly. It's a very good front seven. I thought it was going to be better last week against Washington. It was fine. It had a couple big plays, but defensively, I still think the Eagles' defense is highly overrated from what I've seen. They give up so many big plays in the air.
What?
I do. I know that's like fake shock. I think their defense
Oh
is
no, I
extremely
am.
overrated.
I actually stopped listening to everything you said because Dick Buckus died.
Really, that's a shame.
Yeah, that sucks.
How old
R.I.P.
was he?
80.
80.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Mm,
Oh, that sucks. Oh, and the
that
Bears
sucks.
play tonight. Bears money line.
A Butkus legacy game.
Let's not talk about it. But wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh man, somebody check on Kobe Dant. Yeah, Kobe's sick. We
He
gotta
was
go.
one of the OG linebackers back in
Yeah,
the
he
day.
was, man. Way back in the day. But back over to your handicap of this Eagles game.
I think the Eagles' defense is overrated. Just watching the
I think they are
secondary.
too. I like this front seven, but I think that secondary sucks.
The secondary is brutal. It was really bad last week against Hal. I don't know how you let Hal go 80 yards in a minute and change. Second and goal, 1 second left, you give up a touchdown. Like the defense just isn't very good. So I think
Imagine
Stafford.
my sweat as a Washington money line ticket holder last week.
I'm assuming you were pissed they didn't go for the 2-point conversion.
No, because I mean, in any other situation, if they missed it, I'd have been pissed that they went for it. So it's like
Okay.
I don't like to get mad at stuff like that because it's literally if it worked, I'd have been happy, and if it didn't work, I would have been upset. I was fine with going for one and going overtime.
I had the Eagles in a teaser at 2.5, so I was happy they went to overtime. But anyway, the Rams are potentially getting cut back. Nakua's been insane. So I do think Stafford, if he's healthy enough, can torch the secondary. The question is, do I think the Rams defense is any good? Not really. So I'm going to lean to the over. That's my first thing. I see a lot of points in this game. I think you're going to see a track meet breakout. I think I'm going to take the Rams. I find it pretty telling the line is dropped by a couple of points. I think the
Mhm.
Rams are good enough offensively to once again generate a lot of yards. Washington covered this game last week in Philly because Philly defensively was a lost cause. And anytime you have Aaron Donald in the middle, you can potentially clog up the run, which might help. But I'm going to lean Rams here. I think that it's not the easiest spot for an East Coast team traveling west. I'm not sure they're going to look ahead or anything, but anytime you beat a division rival in overtime, I do wonder if you have a physical lapse in focus when you're traveling West Coast the week after. I'll take the 4 points with the Rams here.
So week one, Patriots 25-20, 5-point win, a 6-point win to the Vikings. Then here we go, 14-point win to the Bucks on the road, and then Commanders at home, you win by 3. I mean, this Eagles team just plays close games. And granted, I mean, maybe they're a good team because they constantly win those close games and they continue to find ways to continue to stack these wins. I thought that this was a 2-2 team at this point in the season, just how some of these games went. I thought that they very easily could have lost that game to the Patriots, and they were 1 foot away from losing that game. And I thought that the Commanders had momentum. If they just could have got something going in that drive, that first drive in overtime,
Well,
that was
McLaurin
similar.
landed on somebody's arm. You can argue it was a
Yeah,
catch. I think if it was a catch, they would have scored a touchdown. But
yeah,
it was dangerous.
yeah. It was multiple. Yeah, like it's multiple times. And so if I'm sitting here and I'm already saying that this Eagles team plays close games, I mean, I wish I got down on the 6.5 when it was live. And it just screams 1-score game here. I think I'm gonna take my chances and take the points with the Rams at plus 4.5. I mean, the Eagles can win this game, but I think they can win it by 2-3. Like this could be a 3-point game, especially coming down to a field goal to win it. And I'm never on the right side of a Jake Elliott field goal, like ever. When I was watching the game last week and they got somewhere close to field goal position and I saw Jake Elliott come out there, I was like, well, this bet is lost. And I ripped up the ticket and just kind of sat there because I was like, I'm always on the wrong side of a Jake Elliott field goal. There's never been a single point in time where I've ever been on the right side of a Jake Elliott field goal. And so I'm rooting for a field goal game here, and hopefully it works. Maybe that's a telltale sign that it's not going to work, and he's going to go out there. And even if he goes out there and misses the field goal, we still win. We still win plus 4.5. So yeah, give me the Rams plus 4.5 here. I think that Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. I think Tutu Atwell is a two touchdown receiver that I like this week to going up against this Eagles secondary. I just think that secondary is very overrated. They're physical. They're very physical. I don't think they can cover though. And that's the thing that I think is gonna be the telltale sign against this Rams team. They're gonna get out physical. They're gonna be more physical than this Rams team, but I think this Rams team is gonna be a little bit more finesse, especially those wide receivers in Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, and they're gonna be able to find space and make plays. So I'm with you there. Rams plus 4.5. I do like that over as well. Love the over. Probably a Millie Maker game right here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on, Scott. Well, before we move on to the next game of the slate, got to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy because Underdog has just introduced Scorchers. Go 5 for 5 and pick 'em Scorchers and enjoy a spicy 100 times your payout, 100 times the contest payout. Look, man, Cam Kerr just hit a 91 Xer or something like that. Like he went up and got 91X and was able to hit that. Super duper cool. And you also have Underdog matching first deposits up to $500. Look, you got $100,000 Sundays still going where you can take the player of the moment, the player of the moment. It's not even player of the day because they change the players around all the time. So looky here. Let's see. Who is the mystery? Garrett Wilson at 60.5 total yards. I think I have to go higher there because guess what? This Broncos defense is literally the worst defense in the league. And I don't know. I mean, at this point, are you even afraid of Patrick Surtain with how bad this defense is overall? Like, Patrick Surtain, in my eyes, coming into the season, was one of the best corners. Maybe not the best, but he was up there. Like, if it was a top 5 list, he was definitely in that top 5 somewhere. I mean, it's just brutal how bad they've been. So, Garrett Wilson, higher, 60.5 total yards. That is the player of the moment right now. 100K Sundays. Continue on this Sunday. When you sign up with promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. All righty. Here, next game on the slate, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who did not cover on Sunday Night Football, going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings opened up at +4, +4.5, I saw out there. It's currently sitting at +3.5. 52.5 is the total. That's come up 1 point from 51.5. Scott, I do have some news here. Taylor Swift will not be in attendance for this game. I think that, they sold her on a. They sold her by a. Are they?
I'm joking.
Are they?
Because
they could.
I was joking.
They could get ran out the gym by 30. Taylor Swift, I guess her contract only signed up for Arrowhead home games and big city road games. She did not sign up for a 1-3 Minnesota Vikings team.
In NBA terms, I believe that's called a 10-day? Is that a 10-day contract? 2 week contract?
Yeah, 2-week contract. We'll reevaluate her, and maybe this just wasn't the next couple of games that we have on the schedule just wasn't for her skill set. So we'll drop you, come practice with us on the practice squad, and then we'll bring you back in 2 more weeks when we playing some teams that are way more better for your skill set here. -3.5 with Kansas City Chiefs on the road. What are you doing here?
I got bitten by the Chiefs last week because Mahomes made the right play. I'm not going to complain about it. It was the right play to slide at the 1 yard line. But I do think looking at this matchup, I'm going to go with Minnesota. This line stinks. And I think Minnesota, even though they didn't look great against Carolina, they won because Bryce Young is not a good quarterback and he gave up the fumble touchdown. I do think Minnesota's alive to win this game. I was trying to think of reasons why the Jets line kept plummeting against Kansas City. And I think from what we saw in the actual game, there's one really obvious answer that I think not enough people are talking about.
That the Jets was
Kelsey's
just the right
clearly
side.
injured, right? Kelsey's clearly injured. Like, we gotta talk about it. Kelsey's definitely injured, just based on the lack of movement, the lack of overall he was just not impacting the game at all. And I think when you're looking at, I want to pull up the snap count right now. I saw Kelsey on the sidelines for a decent amount of big third downs, and he just wasn't on the field. I think Kelsey's injured, and I don't think enough people are actually talking about it. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Kelsey.
Did we talk about this already?
I think we talked about it briefly, but not.
He missed the first game of the season. We knew he was injured.
Well, I'm saying he's still hurt. I don't think people are talking. About
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, we knew that though.
Yeah, I'm saying that people
That
are
wasn't
him.
that wasn't the reason that they didn't cover the game. I just want you to know that.
But
But
I'm saying that might be the reason why the line slightly dropped. That's kind of my point.
oh, okay, all right.
Because
I
the
was about to
Kansas
say,
City doesn't have enough weapons.
the
and
Jets covered
Kelsey's-
because the Jets were the right side.
Okay, that's fine too. I'm just saying. I do think that Kelsey's lack of explosiveness with the injury he's dealing with and the lack of proper wide receivers Kansas City have means that this offense isn't as potent as it can be. Defensively, this team is fine, but they kind of got torched by Zach Wilson last week. That's probably not a good look for backing a defense. I'll go to Minnesota. They always seem to bring it in their home stadium, but it's mostly based on how weird the line is. I'm not gonna fall for it again. I'll go with Minnesota. Because at first glance, I think Kansas City should be like 5.5. Minnesota's not any good, but I'll go with Minnesota.
So this is my thing that has been with Kansas City and why I've never really been concerned about them at any point in time, because I think that this early part of the season is them just figuring out exactly how they want this offense to run and how they want this offense to be smooth. And for the first 4 games of the season, even though they took it out there, I was pretty certain that, and even still now, that they're really just tinkering around with this offense and trying to figure things out, play with different lineups, play with different sets. I mean, Travis Kelce still battling with that knee injury probably doesn't help anything, but it also opens them up to start trying to figure out what this Kansas City Chiefs team looks like with Travis Kelce not being on the field. And because of that, you're going to get the opportunities that you were talking about where Travis Kelce is not on the field during a third down or anything like that, because this team is tinkering around and trying to figure out the offense. That's why I was on the Jets last week. It's why I'm going to back Minnesota here today. Minnesota brings it in big games, and they typically lose those big games, and they lose these really close games by 1 possession. But I'm going to just sit here and say that this is one of those games probably similar to the Minnesota Vikings and Buffalo Bills game last year, where the Minnesota Vikings brought it and absolutely brought it. It was like one of the best games of the year. I think that this could have kind of shades of like that, where this Kansas City team, you got this 1-3 Minnesota team, that there's something there with them and you can't underestimate them, but you still do anyways, because who gets up for this random weird mode game, like non-conference road game? You got this game, and guess who the Kansas City Chiefs have on deck? Thursday Night Football with the Denver Broncos. Now, yes, they've owned the Denver Broncos, but that's still a division game. Looking ahead to Thursday night, I just like too many ways for the Chiefs to just really look past this Minnesota Vikings team. And I don't blame them. I mean, they basically been looking past everybody up to this point in the season. It's just the fact that the Chicago Bears are probably one of the worst teams ever. So, yeah, give me I think that Minnesota does cover. I think this is a 3-point game.
Oh, this has heartbreaking Minnesota loss written all over it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Or Minnesota's up 4 or up 5 or something like that, and Patrick Mahomes drives down the field, scores a touchdown, and he makes it look easy. That's what it sounds like.
I'm not going to equate it exactly to the Colts game last year, but there was that one game where the line looked very short. Chiefs are traveling on the road to a dome, and you're like, all right, well, the Colts are terrible, so the Chiefs will win, and they just didn't win. And I kind of wonder if this is one of those spots where it's just daring you to take Kansas City, and I'm not going to fall for it.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Total 52.5. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're both on the over.
I'm not going to be on an under with Minnesota.
Yeah, I think that they'll find Kirk Cousins is going to make some mistakes, and that's probably where if there is a path for the Chiefs to just go ahead and cover this, is probably because Kirk Cousins made a couple of mistakes. Because that Chiefs defense is actually pretty solid. I just think that Minnesota's offense is going to be able to keep up with the Chiefs.
It's a good defense, but I think it was a bit overrated based on the first couple weeks because they teed off against Justin Fields. Goff was fine. He didn't have a great game. He wasn't bad by any means. But Zach Wilson kind of killed them, and that has me concerned.
I don't think he killed them at all. I think that it was just a better Zach Wilson day than what we're normally
For two
used to seeing
quarters,
with
I thought he
Texans.
was very solid. But okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not killed. Like if you're very solid, you didn't kill a team. You didn't do anything bad. I just don't think that Zach Wilson had many bad moments and he just chilled. He didn't kill him. But I think that Minnesota can actually kill this defense. Speaking of Zach Wilson, New York Jets are on the road going to play the Denver Broncos in the Petty Bowl. The Petty Bowl. On one side, Nathaniel Hackett. On the other side, Sean Payton. Who shall be more petty in this game? 2 shall enter, 1 shall win. Broncos are laying 2.5 here. 43.5 is the total. That's actually come up 3.5 points from open. Oh, man. I mean, on DraftKings, everybody is betting the New York Jets. We have 73% of the bets, 84% of the money on the Jets. The line keeps moving to the Broncos. At the end of the day, just the betting split screams reverse line movement, and you should very much bet Broncos here. But as I've learned, and I said that I wasn't going to do it again. There's no correct situation to bet Russ. Like that doesn't exist. There is not a correct situation to bet Russ at all. The fact that, first of all, there's no way they should have been down. Like, what was it, 28-7?
Yeah.
To the Bears, and then had to fight back and not cover.
I think Field started like 22 of 23, or it was something insane. Fields killed this team.
That defense is terrible, but Russ sucks.
Yeah.
There's no like that's the end of the handicap. I mean, I really, really want to tell you Denver. It feels like Denver, you have the elevation. You have Sean Payton who started all this crap. And when you start it, you got to finish it. But there's never a correct situation to bet Russell Westbrook. I'm Russell Westbrook. Well, that's true too.
Westbrook, yeah, maybe too.
Yeah, man. But Russell Wilson. I mean, just the Russells are just, there's no correct situation to bet this. There's no correct situation at all. I mean, just give me the Jets plus 2.5, man.
I'm on the Jets as well. I think they're going to win the game. I feel like even though Denver did win against Chicago, and I guess impressive comeback, kind of, I don't think they're a good team. I think the Jets are a better football team. What, I'm supposed to get mad at the Jets for losing a close game to Patrick Mahomes? Like, they went down swinging. They tried. Wilson, maybe he can build off of what happened. Maybe he'll look decent. Denver's defense is going to help him look decent because they made Justin Fields look like he was the most accurate quarterback of all time for about 3 quarters. But the Jets went into Denver last year and they won, which is worth mentioning. So they're not going to be intimidated by the altitude because they won last year. And something that's important to mention, Breece Hall, no longer on a pitch clock, no longer on a pitch count. He's ready to go. He should be getting a bunch of snaps. Dalvin Cook can't play because he's just bad. So I expect Breece Hall to be on the field for a lot of this game. And you might remember, this was the game he got injured in last year. So there is a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to maybe put together a good performance. You might remember he had a massive touchdown run in the first half of that game. Then he got injured, but he's returning to the same place he tore his ACL at last year. So maybe that's a bit of an extra chip there. The Jets might kind of rally around Hackett. We'll see what happens, but Denver's not a good team. I don't think the Jets are a bad team. They just don't have a good quarterback. But as a roster, the Jets roster is significantly better than Denver's. That's good enough for me. I'll take the 2.5. I'm assuming you
Offensive line is really the concern. Like the offensive line is really freaking bad. That's really the only
Denver
concern.
have a good defensive line though? They cut Randy Gregory because he's done nothing since he signed that contract. Do they have a pass rush? Do they have anything?
Not really. I mean, they're the last ranked defense. You're not going to get me capping for Denver's defense at all. But I can say that offensive line will probably make the most subpar people look pretty all right, and
It
that's
could
really the only concern for me. But other than that, I mean, I think that the New York Jets have the better defense. Uh, and that's really all. That's honestly, truly all I need. Like that was the only thing that I need. They have the better defense. We're looking at the last place defense in the Denver Broncos, giving up the most points per game in the entire NFL at 35.7, where you have the New York Jets giving up the 14th and 21 points per game. I think that this is going to be a complete petty bowl where both of these two teams are going to literally try to put up 100 points because the other coach wants to prove to the other coach. Like Robert Saleh is just kind of like the man in the middle here. This is Nathaniel Hackett versus Sean Payton here, and Hackett's going to absolutely like the chance to come back to Denver, who fired you after one season, and you can put up an offense that scores 30 plus points on their defense that everybody said carried you last year. Was it the defense? Was it? I don't know at this point. I mean, oh man, it just screams you got to play Jets here,
I do
and
want to
it's
point. I
so
do want to
public.
point out
It's
one
so
thing
public.
though. As bad as the Jets' offensive line was, Brown went on the IR. They shifted some things around against Kansas City's pass rush, which is a pretty good defensive line. The offensive line was actually fine in that night game. I didn't think the offensive line was that bad. Might have been a one-off, but I thought the offensive line seemed a bit more improved. Do you agree with that or no?
No, I think they're still bad. I think they had a better. I think it's the same thing as Zach Wilson, where I'm not sitting here saying Zach Wilson is a good quarterback, but I think he just didn't have a bad game. I think they
Okay.
just didn't have a bad game, but they're still bad. Oh man, this is hilarious. This is just absolutely hilarious. I can't wait for this game. 43 and a half is an absolute lock. The over 43 and a half is absolute lock in this game. Like when I say these are going to be some very, very petty coaches, and people are probably going to go under because they see Russ. They think, oh, Russ is playing against this defense. He's not going to be able to score. Zach Wilson sucks. He's not going to be able to score. Oh, this may be a million maker game here. You may have Zach Wilson or Wilson. Golly, I can't stop freaking saying Russell Westbrook. We are talking about football. It's because the NBA season just started their preseason, and I'm ready for NBA Hoop Shots and NBA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to SGPN NBA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Come rock with us all season. Scott's up there. We got Moondoff. We got Lonte, the whole crew up there. But, oh, man, I have no idea. No idea. Like this is going to be the petty bowl, and both teams are going to put up. Give me an alternate. You talk while I try to figure out an alternate over.
So while you pull up the over, I'm going to pass on the full game over, but I do like Jets team total over quite a bit. I think that number is going to be too low. Denver's offense scoring 23 plus points against one of the better defenses in the league. I do think that Russ is going to struggle in this spot. I think the Jets actually move the ball. Maybe Wilson, it was a one-off, maybe it wasn't, but Denver's defense is that bad. It made Justin Fields look like a competent passer for 3 quarters. The Jets team total for me would be my total lock of this game. Full game, I might stay away from because I think Denver's going to struggle. But I do think the Jets offense actually performs well here. And I think Breece Hall might be the milli maker guy. I like his rushing yards. I think Breece Hall goes for 100 yards.
I think you're wrong. I think Russ is still going to be able to, because Russ always finds ways to move the ball, even though they suck and they lose. He somehow, some way, you look up and Russ somehow scored 3 touchdowns, and so ultimately, what's this line at 43 and a half? What is a? I don't even know total. What are key numbers in totals? I'm just kind of pushing this thing up. Like I can take it as far up as 56 and a half or plus 402. Yeah, because I think both teams can definitely score 30. Probably wouldn't do all that. Probably just, maybe go 6 points the other direction and take the plus money there, which would be, what's that, 49 and a half at plus 183. Yeah, because I'm telling you, these offenses are going to take the chance that they are going to take the opportunity to be able to show up one another. Like I think that the game plan for Hackett and the game plan for Sean Payton is going to be amazing. They're going for it on every 4th and short. Any opportunity to put a touchdown on the board, they are 100% taking it. This game screams 31-28 or something like that. All right. Last game of the slate.
It's a good one.
Dallas Cowboys are traveling to San Francisco in the game that the rivalry that is way too old for either one of us. -2.5 is where the San Francisco 49ers open up at. They are now sitting there frozen at -3.5. 45 is total has come down from 47. I feel like you're going to come up here and figure out a reason to take Cowboys.
I'm not. I'm taking the Niners.
All right. There
I'm
we
not
go.
going against the Niners at home. I'm not going to overreact to them beating Mac Jones. Doesn't mean anything to me. I think when you're looking at the Niners offense, I know the Cardinals defense isn't great either. McCaffrey's a lunatic. Brock Purdy went 20 of 21. Now, that's efficient no matter how you show it. Debo didn't even have a catch, and Purdy still went 20 of 21. I just have too many questions about this Cowboys team. But most importantly, the reason why I think Niners are going to win, the exact same reason they won the playoff game. I think they're going to win the turnover battle. I don't trust Dak keeping control of the ball. I think he's going to make a couple of dumb decisions, and I do think that the Niners will capitalize on that. I do love the under. I think the under is a great play. You're looking at the offense for these teams, and the offensive numbers are solid. The Niners have scored 30-plus points in every game. I'm going to read off their opponents. They beat the Cardinals, one of the worst teams in the league. The Giants, no offense, one of the worst teams in the league. The Rams, who have been better than expected, but still not good, a below-average team. And the Steelers, who look really bad. The Cowboys played the Patriots, scored 38 points. They don't look good. Played the Cardinals. They no-showed the game, scored 16. Arizona's not very good. Played the Jets with Zach Wilson. That doesn't really mean anything. And then they ended up beating the Giants, who, once again, one of the worst teams in the league. Neither team has played a good defense. You can argue the Cowboys did. That game went under. But the Jets defense was on the field the entire game because Zach Wilson couldn't move the ball for a first down. I like the under. I think both offenses are highly overrated in this spot based on the defenses they faced off against so far this season. These defenses are top 5, top 10. Bless you. The Niners defense.
Mute it. I was over here trying to mute it.
You can argue the Niners defense is the best defense in the league, and I don't think anyone would argue with you. Cowboys defense, even without Diggs, definitely top 10. You could argue top 5, probably top 7. Point is, these are two good defenses. Very good compared to the opposition they faced off against so far this season. We saw the playoff game. It was a rock fight. I see a similar story here. Give me the under. I got Niners 24-17.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for me. And I hate backing the public side on Sunday Night Football. Absolutely hate it. And there's very, very rare. Actually, the only time you could find me backing the public side is probably when the Cowboys are on.
The Niners are so good at home, though.
Yeah, they are. And ultimately, what it is for me is I just don't believe in Dak Prescott as a quarterback. It's pretty easy and simple there. I don't believe in Dak Prescott as a quarterback. And I think that this Niners defense, when it comes down to the wire, push comes to shove, you got one drive to go down the field and win the game. Dak's probably going to throw it in triple coverage and throw an interception again. I mean, it's the Cowboy way. Romo did it for so many years. And so that's where I think that this is where the cover comes into play, because I think that the Cowboys are going to be down by a score, by a touchdown or something of that sort. And Dak's going to try to force it into the end zone. He's going to throw another interception. I'm all over the under in this spot. I think the under is the absolute play to go. I like your handicap. It's the exact same thing I would say in terms of I think that both of these two defenses are really good, especially at the line of scrimmage. I think that's going to cause ruffle some feathers here. I think Brock Purdy is actually due for a turnover. So that'll definitely keep Dallas in the game. But ultimately at 3.5, you laid at 3.5. You don't take 3.5. I'm on San Francisco 49ers. We're both on the Niners. We're both on the under. Sunday night unders continue to rule in this game. Let's move on to lock dog and underdog. We got to do lock dog and underdog contest here. 5 games to pick from this week. Glorious. For my lock.
Eagles.
I gotta go back to that under. Yeah, I'm going to the under. Dallas and San Francisco under 45. I mean, come on. These are two amazing defenses, and actually, I'm questionable on both offenses. I'm still not 100% sold on Brock Purdy, and I don't know why, actually. I think I'm actually just hating. Am
It's
I a
because you
hater?
watched him against the Giants and he almost threw 3 picks in the first half.
He did. He did. He tries to throw a pick so bad. Like, he really tries his hardest to throw a pick. But I might be just a Brock Purdy hater. I don't think he's lost a game that he's finished.
No, he's undefeated.
Yeah, so I might just be a Brock Purdy hater. Yeah, give me the under 45 for the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. It's my lock for my dog. Let's go with the Rams. Rams getting it done on the road in SoFi, plus 175. And they give the Eagles their first loss. I think a lot of people took the Eagles start the season 5-0 bet. This is the one that ruins it on the last leg. Yeah. This is the one that ruins it. So give me the Rams at plus 175. Scott.
All right. So for my lock, I thought about going with a player prop because I had the exact same lock as you. I was going to take the under of 45 in this Cowboys game. I think we're just going to double lock it.
I can take over. No, I'll pivot. I'll pivot. No, I'll pivot. I'll pivot.
You want to pivot? I was going to say we can test this out. We can test this
out. No. I don't want to test it. I don't want to.
Okay,
I don't want to take a chance. Give me the over in the Jets and the Broncos game. I mean, the Petty Bowl. It's the Petty Bowl, man. Come on. This number's come up 3.5 points from open. I don't think it's far enough, and I don't think they're going to move it anymore. At the end of the day, yes, this Jets defense is really good, but you're coming into elevation. And again, somehow, some way, Russ puts 3 touchdowns on the board. They just typically lose by 5. So, yeah, I'm going with the over in that one. You've got the under in Dallas and San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm not really going to add any more to your handicap. We just talked about it. I just think these defenses are too solid for a total of 45. Plus, the Niners and Cowboys haven't really generated a ton of big plays per se. You saw Ayuk get loose a couple of times against Arizona, but we know the Niners love to run the ball. They drain a bunch of clock. They eat up a lot of time. Cowboys are kind of the same way. They haven't had many explosive plays. And the Cowboys' offensive numbers, a reminder, points per game, are extremely inflated because they had 2 non-offensive touchdowns against the Giants and 2 defensive touchdowns against the Patriots. So the offensive numbers are a bit overvalued. Give me the under on that game as my lock. For my dog, give me the Jets. I think it's a good spot for them. I think that the Broncos are I think they're a bad football team. And I do think when you're looking at this spot, Russ being favored, once again, they pushed, I think, against Chicago.
No, they didn't push. No, they lost. No. I will not let you do that to Russell Wilson. He did not get a push. It was 3.5, sir.
3.5? Okay.
That line was 3.5. They lost.
They almost got blown out by Chicago. Chicago hasn't won a game in a year.
Man.
Like, the Broncos are awful. I'll take the Jets. I think the Jets on paper are the better team. Maybe Zach Wilson can build off of what happened last week. But 2.5, they went into Denver last year and won. So once again, I know that they're not going to be intimidated or overwhelmed by the altitude. Jets money line is my pick.
All right. Let's get into an underdog lineup here, Scott.
Dak interception.
Oh, yes. Oh, man, you're talking to me already. Let's see. Come on, underdog. Give me Dak interception. No.
Boo.
Purdy interception?
I feel a lot better about the Dak one.
Nope, they don't have
Dak feels like a guarantee.
Purdy would have been like, I know they should have made Purdy like a 1.75x. Like, he doesn't throw interceptions. I feel like we could have got something there. All right. Let's see. Kittle has a spicy bonus on his touchdown. Ayuk has a spicy bonus on his touchdown. Samuel
I can't keep picking Kittle. Touchdown. I keep waiting for Kittle to do something. He hasn't done anything the entire year. I can't keep doing Kittle.
It's gonna be this one. Watch.
I'm sure.
I'm with you. I'm with you on not betting because I've been doing the same thing. But I'm telling you, as soon as we get off the train, it's gonna be this one. I know. At least for the but we have to get off. We have to get off.
Okay.
All right, that over game, I see a lot of points. We can get a spicy bonus on Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy.
I really want Breece Hall rushing yards in that game.
He's got
want that.
59.5 rushing yards, and he's got 1.25x on his rushing and receiving touchdown.
Denver is allowing the most rushing yards per game in the league. They're allowing 176, so it's the most by 19 yards.
I think we'll take the touchdown. Let's take the touchdown.
Touchdown? Okay. I was going to say
let's take the spicy bonus and take the touchdown.
Okay. Breece Hall had a touchdown last year against Denver. He got injured in this game last year, but it's
he's going to score. That's going to be
run.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the the little moment that everybody's gonna post on Twitter. Reese Hall tore his ACL in this game and scores a touchdown in this game, and everybody's gonna post about it. Yeah,
It's
let's
also
take the
because Dalvin Cook is objectively bad at football at this stage in his career, and the fact that Brees Hall is no longer on a snap count, they said that he's officially unleashed. He's going to have a good game against Denver. So I like that as one. Stafford passing yards.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Or is that like 270 and change? Unless you want the passing touchdowns, but something with Stafford against this defense with Cooper Kupp coming back.
Hold on. Let me Higby Stafford 272.5 times 2 fumbles lost for Matthew Stafford.
It takes one strip sack.
That's so tempting.
It's so tempting too, yeah.
All right, it's fine. We can go with the passing yards, 272.
I think the passing yards is relatively safe because if Philly blows him out, then he's going to get there in garbage time. If not, the only way they're going to score, because they can't run the ball against Philly, they're going to throw the ball 50 times.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I agree. Okay, so we got 2. We're at 3.75x modifier. We have a 1.25 modifier here. One more play.
Do you have any plays you could think of on the top of your head?
Joe Burrow interception is tempting, but I think he's going to be relatively safe with the ball, and I'm on the Bengals. I don't want to.
You want to go chase receptions? He said he wants the ball.
He doesn't have receptions. It's 80.5. It's 80.5 for the receiving yards. They don't have the receptions.
Okay.
That was a good play. I did like that mindset. Do we? I feel like we need to get back into this Jets Broncos game or this.
You want to go Lazard?
Chiefs? No, let's go Chiefs. We gotta get into the Chiefs and Vikings game. We don't have anything in that game. That's an over game. We got to get something in here.
I mean, Jefferson's the cop-out answer.
Very much so.
Unless you want Kirk Cousins passing. Or if you wanted to go for like Addison or any of the
Addison's touchdown is 1.75x.
I don't think he had a catch last week, but I still like him as a player. So do you
Cam Akers revenge games at 2x
Oh,
on a touchdown? That's not a revenge game. I'm sorry.
It's not.
Let's go.
No, because he used to be on the Rams. That's not a revenge game.
McKinnon touchdown is very like they have 2x. All the touchdowns for the Chiefs are like super intriguing, but it's just the fact that I can't just take a dartboard and guess which Chief is scoring this week.
Do you want to go Pacheco rushing yards? If you want to build on last week.
Let me see what I have the numbers right here for running backs. Over the course of this season, Minnesota is giving up.
They're directly in the middle. They're 15.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we're there. I don't know if I'm there yet. It's going to be passing in this game. Do we just take Mahomes?
Do you want to go Mahomes passing or you want to go Cousins passing?
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters, actually.
If we think Minnesota's going to keep it close, then I feel like we're going to lean to Cousins because his number's probably shorter, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not.
The number's higher.
It's 294. Patrick Mahomes is at 286.5.
294 is kind of wild, but I understand it, you know? Do you want to take a Russ interception?
I don't think I saw it, because if I saw it, I would have played it. Yeah, no, they don't have any interceptions up here. They're killing us with that. All right, let's just go with it's between Mahomes and Cousins is probably the only two things that are swaying me at this point. Cousins fumbles loss is 2x as well. That's actually very tempting. Oh, Cousins interception is up here.
Okay.
Is this an interception for Cousins game?
It might be.
Possibly.
Is there a multiplier on that?
No, it's not. Of course it's
not. Do you want to just go for chaos and just go for the fumble lost?
Let's do it. I wanted you to say it. I wanted you to say it so bad.
Kansas City can get after. Yeah, why not?
Oh, man, I wanted you to say it so bad. I wasn't going to say it, but I wanted you to say it so I could agree. Yes. All right. So we have here Matthew Stafford higher, 273.5 passing. We have Kirk Cousins higher, half a fumble loss. So for him to lose a fumble, that has a 2x multiplier. And Brees Hall higher, half a rush and receiving touchdown, 1.25x. That pays us 15-1, Scott. Just those three. That's it. 15-1. $20 gets me $300. Oh man, I love it. And we've been pretty good with the underdog plays. We cashed the last one. We didn't talk about that. We cashed the last one.
Yeah, we did.
Shout out to was that the Brandon Aubrey one? I think so. He still doesn't have a picture.
I think that wasn't last week. That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Okay, so he still doesn't have a picture, by the way. And just so you know, I was looking at it earlier, and I meant to say something.
You know who made 3 field goals again last week?
Do we have to add Brandon Aubrey to the lineup because it's 6?
I'm going to use him on my fantasy lineup, but I mean the Niners' defense is still solid. But if you want to, you can.
I mean,
once again,
less touchdowns, more field goals.
It's at 1.5, and he's made 3+ in every game. So you're not going to get an argument from me. Aubrey field goal has been a cash cow for me.
Aubrey field goal puts us at, I don't know.
Was it 30 to 1?
Hold on. Oh crap! I accidentally backed out. Okay, there we go.
We're in too deep. It's fine. We'll do it.
We are. It's at 25 to 1. Puts us at 25 to 1.
Do you want to do it, or do you want to just stick with the 3?
Let's add no picture. Let's add no picture for 25 to 1.
Let's
All right,
go,
there
Aubrey.
you go. There you go. Brandon Aubrey, higher 6 kicking points. Brees Hall, higher rush and receiving touchdown. Matthew Stafford, higher 22.
Whoa, 6 kicking points. I wanted the field goals. Do you have over 1.5 field goals or no?
No, they don't. It's only 6 kicking points. That's a deal breaker?
I think the Cowboys scored more.
I mean, 1.5 field goals is 6 kicking points.
I was going to say, yeah, it's fine. Whatever. It's fine.
All right. 273.5 passing yards. Matthew Stafford higher, and half a fumble loss for Kirk Cousins higher. 25 to 1. We're getting a little spicy here with these, Scott. Anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No, looking forward to the game tonight, or kinda, between the Commanders and the Bears. Hopefully, we'll make some money.
All right. Other than that, for the 0 people that are catching us live on the stream right now, but for the people that I know are coming back to YouTube, because the YouTube numbers are actually pretty okay. So for the people that are coming back to YouTube, make sure you like the video on the way out. And for everybody, all you people, and it's a lot of y'all that are catching us through your ears via podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. You can say anything you want, but leave us a 5-star review. Other than that, I mean, I really don't have anything else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to end it like this. We are out of here.